Dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to our Guru Parampara. Welcome to His Holiness Candramauli Swami Maharaj's daily call. Right now we are on Canto 1, chapter 11, verse number 30. If Guru Maharaj wishes to continue that. Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Would you like to continue this, or would you like me to pull up some other verse, Guru Maharaj?
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Avishatsva Bhavanam Sarvakamananuttamam Asadayatrapadninam Sahasrani Chisodasa. Thereafter, the Lord entered his palaces which were perfect to the fullest extent. His wives lived in them, and they numbered over 16,000. Purport. Lord Krishna had 16,108 wives, and for each and every one of them, there was a fully equipped palace complete with necessary compounds and gardens. Full description of these palaces is given in the 10th canto. All the palaces were made of the best marble stone. They were illuminated by jewels and decorated by curtains and carpets of velvet and silk, nicely bedecked and embroidered with gold lace. The personality of Godhead means one who is full with all power, energy, all opulences, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Therefore, in the palaces of the Lord, there was nothing wanting, fulfilling all desires of the Lord. The Lord is unlimited, and therefore his desires are also unlimited. And the supply is also unlimited. Everything being unlimited, is described here as sarva kaman, or full with all desirable equipment. Om Gyan Timidanda Sya Ginajana Salakaya Naksu Unvalitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaudavani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Pastyatya Reza Vanchakalpa Tarubhischa Puripa Sindhu Vaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namaho Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama So the Supreme Personality is described in different features. And one of the features which is describe him, he's called Bhagavan. Bhagavan means one who is full in all opulences. And these opulences are meant here: power, energy, opulences, beauties, knowledge, and renunciation. You can translate it. Power means strength. Power means actually fame. Energy means strength. Opulences means wealth, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. So there was nothing wanting, and the Lord is self-contained, although he is full of these opulences. He shares these opulences with his devotees. So here we see there are 16,000 queens, which became his wives. They were princesses that at one time had been captured by a demon named Bomasura. And Bomasura was a particular personality who was born as Krishna's son. It's interesting, his history. He was born when Varahadev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appeared on the scene to pick up the earth after it had fallen into the Garbhodak Ocean. We celebrate Varaha's appearance day every year, usually in the month of February. And the touch of the Lord's tusks upon the earth produced a particular son, and that son was Boma. Now, he was known as Boma, who was born as the son of the Lord and Mother Earth. His mother was the supreme manifestation of the personality of the earth. And his father was Krishna directly. But he got into bad association. And somehow he either became inimical to Vaishnavas and to anything spiritual. And due to his bad association, he took association from another demon named Naraka, which really means hell. And they were ravaging the countryside. At one point, Boma became so powerful. Boma was powerful because he was born directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he used his power to exploit, and he captured all of these princesses, which were daughters of various kings, and he imprisoned them. Krishna killed Bhaumasura. It was a great fight. You should read about that. It's really an interesting fight because described in the 10th canto how Boma was so powerful. And it was arranged actually by Lakshmi Devi, who arranged actually the Lord to go to the place where Bhaumasura was, kill him, and then eventually that led to the freeing of the queens. Well, these queens or princesses actually became queens later as they married Krishna, who was known as Dwarkadish. He is the feature of the power of Dwarka. He resides in Dwarka, and Dwarka is one of the supreme abodes of the Lord manifested in this world. And so you can see here how the Lord provided everything for these queens. Each one of them had a fully equipped palace, 16,108 queens, with compounds around the palace, and beautiful, luxurious, fragrant gardens. All opulence was there. So one who engages in devotional service is never bereft of anything. The Lord takes care of his devotees. Of course, there are different types of devotees. Some devotees like to live very simply, without any material arrangements, living basically simply on the mercy of the Lord and the power of their own spiritual practice. And there are other devotees who like opulence. Both of these are devotees of the Lord, and both can be pure devotees. We have the example of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. He was actually King Vrishabhanu in his previous life. And he reappeared in Lord Chaitanya's Leela as Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Now, he loved opulence very much, but still, it didn't interfere with his pure devotional service. And sometimes devotees think, well, I have to be poor to be a devotee. The idea is to be detached from everything material, but one can also, through the process of devotional service, please the Supreme Lord. And the Supreme Lord knows the heart of each and every heart and mind of every devotee. The Lord will provide many times for some nice opulences for the devotee, because that's his way of reciprocating their devotion. He never feels like just giving himself is enough. And this is his natural humility, although he is the supreme power. And the goal is to simply have his loving association. He thinks that's inadequate. And his devotees are giving so much, so he bestows upon them all kinds of opulences many times. And even Kolovech's Sridhar, who didn't want any opulence, the Lord practically forced him to take opulences. Of course, he refused because he felt that that was an interference of his bhakti. But then you have also beautiful pastime describing how Sudama Brahma, good friend of Krishna, they were together in school, in the son Sandipati Muni's school, and they were stranded in the forest one day after hearing from their spiritual master that they should go to the forest and collect firewood for some puja. But when they got there, it was late, and then it started to rain, and there was a great storm, and they got lost in the forest, Krishna and Sudama. And Sudama never forget that incident. And later on, Krishna, of course, became Dwarkadish, as we see here. And Sudama was living not so far away, but he was a completely impoverished Brahmin. And he liked the whole idea. He liked being impoverished. Of course, he had that mood that he was proud of being poor. But he was a great devotee of the Lord. But his wife didn't like living like that. And so she said one time, you have a good friend named Krishna. He lives in Dwarka, which is not far away. Why don't you go and ask him for some, some nicer arrangements for our living? Because they had so little that he would go out to beg every day food just to keep him and his wife, nourished. But they didn't even have enough food day to day. But he wasn't interested in really changing his situation, but his wife was saying, here, take some chipped rice, some rice. That's all he had, some broken rice. He tied it in a little bag, tied the bag in the string, and hung it upon his shoulder and said, take this to Krishna, give him this gift. So he was thinking, all right, it might be nice to see my old friend Krishna again. So on that principle, he left, not so much to get anything. And then when Krishna saw him, Krishna was so happy, and there was a beautiful exchange. And then the Lord actually saw the bag hanging from his. He said, what is that? You brought me something? Oh, no, not really. He was embarrassed because it was just broken chipped rice. He was thinking, how can I give this? But the Lord snatched it away and actually, started to eat some of it. Rukmini was there, and she was amazed to see how much the Lord actually showed affection for this ordinary Brahmin. There's a beautiful exchange, and Sudama never asked for anything. He didn't even ask for anything, and then he left. But the Lord was so pleased just seeing his old friend again and the devotion that he had, that when Sudama came back to his place, he couldn't find his place anymore. The area that was his house had now turned into an luxurious palace. Then he sees this beautiful girl coming running towards him, and he's thinking, who's this? She's decorated so nicely. But he didn't even realize it was his wife. So Krishna bestowed him unlimited opulences, just because Krishna wanted to reciprocate his bhakti. So we see here how these queens, what were their qualifications? They were just princes that were captured by Bhaumasura. They were princesses. They were daughters of kings in different provinces around the world. But the Lord married them because that was their desire. Actually, the Lord freed them from Bhaumasura and said, now you're free. But they said, how can we ever get a husband now? We've been captured by this demon and no one will marry us. And how can we live? Everyone will reject us, that we have been polluted simply by being with this demon. So we want you as our husband. So the Lord felt, all right, well, yes, if I don't marry him, nobody will. So the Lord married 16,108 princesses who became the wives in Dwarka, which they were queens then. Of course, there's much more to the pastime that I'm explaining, but we're showing how kind the Lord is to his devotees. If one becomes a devotee, there's no shortage of anything. Everything is provided by the Lord. And sometimes we might think, well, I wanted this and I didn't get it. Well, that means the Lord knew that wasn't good for you or you didn't need it. But sometimes, even if you don't need it, he gives it to you. But he won't give you anything material if he sees it's going to take you away from his devotional service. It's going to make you more attached to the object that you received than to him. And therefore, he will not encourage that. But he's always giving. So therefore, whatever we have by the grace of the Lord, it's actually the property of the Lord meant to be used in the service of the Lord. And we see that when the Lord wants, he can, bestow unlimited amounts of material things upon the devotee, just to show his concern, to be pleased with the devotee. But the devotee thinks, oh, okay, all right, I'll just use this to serve the Lord. And then that becomes the feature by which the devotee makes more and more advancement going back home, back to Godhead. So whatever you use in the service of the Lord becomes spiritualized. And when you use it in the service of the Lord, Krishna said, oh, this devotee is very nice. Let me give some more. And that way they'll use it again in the same way. So the Lord can bestow unlimited amounts of material things, wealth upon the devotee, but the devotee doesn't want any of it, simply wants to use it in the service of the Lord to spread Krishna consciousness. That's the nature of the Lord. He's kind. But here, in his mood as Dwarkadish, as opposed to his supreme mood as Krishna in Vrindavan, he's an opulent king surrounded by beautiful queens who have unlimited opulences. And this is his mood. So the Lord has different moods, and he enjoys each one of those moods. In one incarnation of the Lord, he became Srinivas. In that incarnation of the Lord as Srinivas, he was a poor Brahmin. He had nothing. In fact, he didn't even have enough to eat. But that's a beautiful pastime where the Lord actually was chasing after Lakshmi Devi, who had left the abode of Vaikuntha because she was angry at the Brahmanas. That's a beautiful story, how the sages were trying to understand who is the actual Supreme Personality of Godhead. Is it Brahma? Is it Shiva? Or is it Vishnu? So they decided to find out by making a test. And they asked Brigal Muni, you find out, you go visit all of these three and you let us know which one is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Briga was the son of Brahma, so he came to Brahma first. And just to test Brahma, he didn't pay his obeisances to his father. That is the etiquette in Vaishnava culture. When you when you're the son of the daughter and you come into the association of your parents, you offer them respect. That is etiquette, and if you don't, you're actually guilty of improper behavior, and it's an offense. And so Brigal didn't do that. He didn't acknowledge Brahma's presence, although he came into his association. And Brahma got angry, but he didn't do anything. He just got angry. And Brigal noted, oh, Brahma, you're becoming angry. And so he turned and left. Now, later he went to Kailash to see Lord Shiva. And Shiva was there with his wife Parvati. And they were together. And then Brigu came in, and Shiva said, oh, my brother Brigu, because Shiva is also the son of Brahma in one manifestation. And he said, oh, you've come. And he went to embrace his brother Brigu. Brigu said, no, don't touch me. Get away from me. You are contaminated. You're full of skulls and ashes and everything. Shiva became really angry. And he took out his trishul when he was about to finish Brigu. But Parvati was there. And she stopped, no, my lord, he's your brother. Just forgive him. So Shiva became pacified by Parvati. But he noted, oh, Shiva has become angry. And then he went to Vaikuntha. He was able to actually Swetadweep, the island in the material world where the Lord resides as Shirodakshai Vishnu. And he went to see the Lord. And the Lord was there. And when he came, the Lord said, oh, Brigu, you've come. And Brigu didn't say anything. And he came right up to Vishnu and kicked him in the chest. You see the mark on the Jagannath deity sometimes of a footprint on the chest of Jagannath. That's the mark of Brigu. The Lord wears that as an ornament on his chest. So when Vishnu said, oh, my dear Brigu, you must have hurt your foot. I'm a Kshatriya and my chest is very hard. Well, let me massage your feet. So he grabbed the feet of Brigu and started massaging it. Lakshmi Devi was there and she was thinking, what is this? He came and he kicked the Lord. She became so angry that she couldn't tolerate it anymore and she left. And then she also cursed the Brahmins that the Brahmins will become poor. And this was due to the offense of Brigu upon the Lord, but the Lord didn't take any of it. So it was understood by this test that actually the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Vishnu. His offense against Brahma was in the mind. His offense against Shiva was by words, and his offense against Vishnu was corporal, was by physical, which is the worst of all offenses. But the Lord didn't take offense. And then Lakshmi left, went to the material world. She didn't want to have anything to do with Vishnu at that time because she was really offended. And so when Vishnu saw he was out without Lakshmi, he decided to find her, and that's when he became Srinivas. And he chased her, and that's a beautiful story, which ends up at the Venkatekeshwara temple in Tirupati, where Balaji is the manifestation of that particular deity. That's a whole beautiful story. We don't have time to narrate that story. So you see, in all cases, how the Lord is very kind to his devotee. To become a devotee of the Lord is not a small thing. In fact, to come to that stage of actually becoming a devotee of the Lord, that means one who is actually devoted to the Lord in all aspects of life. That is a rare achievement. And one who can achieve that, they have reached perfection in life because everything becomes wonderful when one surrenders completely to the will of the Lord and engages in the Lord's loving devotional service. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any questions or comments?
Dear Gurudev, this is such a wonderful delineation, especially of this pastime of how the Lord was proven to be the Lord through this pastime of Bhrigu Muni and Lord Krishna's opulence in Dwarka, his marrying 16,000 wives. Dear devotees, please feel free to ask your questions, offer your comments, or share your realizations on these beautiful, beautiful pastimes of Lord Sri Krishna, his different moods in different places, and enliven all of us. Namrata, please.
Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Guru speaks about opulences. So there are basically 6 opulences. We talked about opulences, and there are basically 6 opulences, among which renunciation is one of the opulence. So I am not able to clearly understand how can we understand renunciation as an opulence.
In fact, it's the king of all of these opulences because it actually denotes the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Mm.
In the sense that beauty, knowledge, all of these things are just the features of the Supreme Lord's existence. But although all of these things are natural to the Lord because he's the source of all these things and he has them in full, he's renounced. He's not attached to any of this, and at the same time, he's full in it. This principle of renunciation is the king of all of the opulences because it shows the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his true sense. And although he is powerful, knowledgeable, beautiful, and everything, he's not attached to anything. Therefore, he exhibits full renunciation as he came as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He exhibited that as Srinivasacharya, as Srinivas, the incarnation. He showed complete renunciation. And many of his other manifestations, the Lord shows renunciation because he's full in himself. Full in himself means he needs nothing outside of himself. He's satisfied. Therefore, his renunciation is his supreme definition of his existence. And therefore, we can worship the Lord because although he has everything, he doesn't need any of it.
Thank you, Maharaj, for that clarification. I think I missed the last step to understand that. Thank you. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Devotees
Krishna.
are
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Thank you so much for that wonderful pastime. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Hare Krishna. So our renunciation is different because we don't own anything and nothing is ours in the first place. So when we renounce, there's nothing to renounce because we have nothing. So it's artificial. Our renunciation is coming back to our natural position of being without anything. We don't have anything. All we have is the Lord. And if by renouncing material things, we can detach ourselves from these things and then gradually connect more and more with the Lord. But Prabhupada used to say when one devotee said, "Oh, Prabhupada, I want to renounce everything." Prabhupada said, "What do you have to renounce? You don't have anything. Nothing belongs to you in the first place. Come into this world and you accumulate some stuff that people give to you. Your body's given to you. Everything's given to you. You make a little endeavor to get something, but ultimately that endeavor doesn't mean you're going to get it. So we don't have nothing, zero. The only thing we have is the Lord, ultimately. All these things that we have are given to us by Krishna through the material energy to use so we can live in this world. That's all. So the real possession is Krishna. So the devotee will renounce everything if it helps to bring about their relationship with Krishna. But the real renunciation is the renounce to enjoy the material world. So one can have millions and millions of rupees, dollars, pounds, euros, and still be completely renounced. If they have no attachment to it, they simply use it. The Rupa Goswami explains renunciation. Nirbandhe Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya uchtate. A real renunciation means to use everything in the service of the Lord because it belongs to him anyway. That is renunciation.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj, for making us understand the elaborated, feature of renunciation. So, thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Nice question.
Very nice question, Amrita. Anybody else would like to ask any question, or I can read out Janava's comment, Maharaj? Is that okay?
I'm here.
Okay. Janava, Hare Krishna. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much. I am listening, but I am a little bit in ecstasy after this lecture. I cannot say anything more. That's Janava.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Janava, my obeisances.
Revati, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Thank you for this very, very beautiful class. I have a question. Thank you for explaining about this pure devotion with narrating various pastimes. It's really touching. Pure devotion is not to get any, like Sudama's pastime, and I really like the Srinivas, how Lakshmi Devi, she goes to Vaikunta because she's very angry with Bhrigu. Thank you, Maharaj. So I have a question. Could you please also a little bit explain on devotion and passion to understand, so we don't do devotion and passion.
Devotion and passion? I'm not sure what that is. Of course, there is devotional service in the different modes of material energy, but it's not pure devotional service. It's mixed devotional service. So passion is an ambiguous word, because it's not an ambiguous word. It's a word that has many connections. So sometimes passion is used in a positive sense and sometimes in a negative sense. When it's material, it's negative. When it's spiritual, it's positive. So passion can also be translated into eagerness, and that eagerness should be directed by becoming more and more eager or passionate to serve the Lord. So it's a consciousness that manifests itself into an increased desire to serve the Lord and use everything the Lord has given us in his service. The material passion is the mode of passion itself. That's material, but there's spiritual also. Material passion is selfish. Spiritual passion is directed towards the Lord for his service.
So it's good to have the passion, spiritual passion, eagerness to serve the Lord.
Yeah, well, that can manifest in different ways. The best way is the devotee thinks to use every moment in the service of the Lord. And one who sees that they're not using time in the service of the Lord, they become unhappy, thinking I'm wasting time. These are features of the spiritual enthusiasm, passion that we describe. I don't want to waste time. I don't know how long I have in this world. So let me use every bit of time to become Krishna conscious.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, and then you'll be happy. Our unhappiness is that we're mixing material life and spiritual life together. Therefore, we're not fully happy. We have to focus completely on devotional service and take care of our material responsibilities just like we take care of our body. That's all. We just do it because it's required.
Guru Maharaj, like spiritual greed, passion, like material passion, same.
It's called lauyam. Lauyam means greed. Lauyam for Krishna. And it says that only when you reach that stage of lauyam can you get Krishna. Otherwise, it's not possible. You have to come to that stage of wanting Krishna, just like a hungry person who hasn't eaten in a long time is just thinking about that time when they can get the food. So we have to be in that same mood. But that mood doesn't come just by wanting that mood. It comes by practicing devotional service and detaching ourselves from Maya. Manaso deho geho. You get you more arpilu to alpade Nanda Kishore. Bhaktivinoda Thakur gives the formula. My dear Nanda Kishore, my home, my family, my body, my possessions, it all belongs to you. And these are not artificial statements. They're actually statements that bring one back to the real consciousness. What are we doing in this world anyway? Why are we here? Did we choose to come here? We did, but we can't remember. And now we're here. And if you look at material life, you'll see it's actually ridiculous. It makes no sense. It's this fool's paradise, that's all. You work so hard your whole life, and then you lose everything at one point. Everything you gain. The material world is made in such a way that anyone who tries to be happy here is like a joker trying to create humor by making different jokes. That's all. Happiness is our birthright. Happiness comes by way of our relationship with the Lord. As heat comes by when one gets closer to the fire, the more one gets closer to the fire, the more one sees the light, the more one sees the heat, feels the heat. Simply as we become closer and closer to Krishna, we become farther and farther away from our material existence. And though we have a body and we're still in this world, we simply carry on, that's all. We simply do our duty in the material world in a detached way, just to get it over so we can actually come back to using our time for devotional service. That is lauyam, eagerness for Krishna every moment. I can't wait to finish washing the dishes so I can start chanting my rounds. The dishes have to be washed. The devotee thinks, oh my God, it's time to go to sleep at night. Oh, you know what that means? All this time is wasted. I'm going to be in this state of comatose for 5 to 6, 7 hours. And I won't have any activity in devotional service. What a waste of time this sleep is. The devotee thinks, well, so they want to get up as early as they can, so they use the best part of the day for devotional service. So the devotee thinks like that when they go to sleep. I wish I didn't have to do this. But because we have to maintain the body, we do it. And so.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for explaining this so detailedly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The only material thing that looks material, that is enjoyable in Krishna consciousness, which is not material, but sometimes we consider it to be material, is taking prasadam. That is spiritual. So therefore, if you're not happy with anything in life, just take prasad. And you'll experience Krishna consciousness through the process of eating. So devotees look forward to prasadam because they know it's Krishna. But if somebody, even if a devotee is hungry and somebody gives them a plate of something that is not prasadam, they won't eat it because it's not spiritual. Just food, that's all it is. But devotees like to take prasadam, and they're eager for taking prasadam because they come in contact with Krishna. That's why prasadam is so nice, because it's Krishna in the form of foodstuffs. Instead of all of the activities of the body, eating, when it's transformed into prasadam, it becomes the source of spiritual advancement, purification of the heart and mind, purification of the body. Okay, so is
Any
anybody-
last minute questions? Any comments from anyone? Dear devotees, if you have any question, Shilpesh Prabhu, go ahead, please.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. I just want to know that you've received my email that I sent you.
Yeah, I did. I read it, but then I somehow or other I got diverted and started doing other things. Now I just realized I'll write it down. I'll have to reread it and respond.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you for such a wonderful session today. It's been really, really helpful.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll respond. Just give me a little time. Things don't. It's hard to find time sometimes.
No problem, Maharaj. I just wanted to know you received it, that's all. But thank you. Whenever you're ready, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Oh, can I ask, Maharaj? I know your books, you've written 2 previous books. One was on the prison preaching, but there's another book. I just wanted to ask what the contents of that book is.
Daily drops.
I can't remember, honestly.
Actually, there's 4 books. There's Holy Jail, Forbidden Voices. Both of them are about jail preaching.
Right.
There's Daily Drops, which is my daily statements that we put on the conference, which are more like little aphorisms about Krishna consciousness. And then my latest book is Krishna's Way, Natural Living, Farm Communities, Varnashram Dharma, Srila Prabhupada's Vision for the Future of the Society. So if you're in London, you can get any one of these books. All four of them are available. All you do is contact Dinanath. Was Dinanath Chaitanya? What's his name?
Gauranga.
Dinanath Gauranga. He was known before as
Diptesh.
So he has all my books.
Yes, I found out he lives just 5 minutes from me, so I'm going to go and pick them up from him.
Yeah, and if he doesn't have Krishna's Way, then you can just check it with Brajendra Nandana. He has Krishna's Way.
Yes, I will do. Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay. All right, so we can stop here, and tomorrow we'll be back again.
Okay, Guru Maharaj, thank you very much for the truly wonderful class again, as always. We're so grateful for the nectar that comes showering on us every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you, Guru
Gurudev.
Maharaj.
Thank you so much. It was really wonderful
Thank you.
class. Thank you so much. Hare
Prabhupada
Krishna.
ki jai, Srila
Hare
Prabhupada
Krishna.
ki jai.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
Thank you, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Okay.